What's up, Fantasy World? This is the Fantasy's Finest podcast for fantasy football. I'm your host, William Spencer, alongside my cohort in crime, Jalen McQueen. Jalen, say
Wow.
what's up to the people.
What's going on, peoples?
All right. This is our first episode. Uh, one thing I want to get into before we, really get into introducing ourselves. Uh, the purpose of this podcast is not only to be informative, but I want I want our podcast, Jalen, to be something that the experienced can listen to. The guys that have been in fantasy football for years,
Right.
and more so the new guys. I want the information that we go over, the picks, our takes, our banter, whatever. I want it to be something that a person coming, right off the street into fantasy football, they can listen to and be like, "Hey, man, you know what? That actually makes sense. I'm not confused with all these numbers and stats and and all that stuff is good. Like all the analytics and all the numbers. I love that stuff. Like I grew into that. But my first year in fantasy, I ain't know nothing about that. Like I started fantasy football in 2012, and I ended up drafting RG3 as my running back. I mean, as my quarterback. And I'm like, you know,
Running back.
yeah, that was a misstep. You know that he's a quarterback. But like, had to draft him because the only guy that I knew that I wanted to take was Tony Romo because I'm a Cowboys
Right.
fan.
Of
So
course.
like, wow, I didn't know what I was doing. And then like as the season progressed, I got uh I got into it a little bit more, and I started figuring some things out on my own, and it got gradually better. And
Right.
I actually made it to the semifinals that year. Um,
Because RG3 sensational year.
yeah, and then he got hurt.
Then
When
he
I
got
needed
hurt.
the
Right.
most, and I got screwed by Eli Manning. So I don't like. I to this day, I will never draft Eli Manning ever. Like he just
Eli Manning still shouldn't even be in the NFL. But that's a whole nother topic for another day. But at least with this show, what we do have, number one, you more experienced than I am. I basically just started. But I always love. I'm a big stats and eye test dude. So
and I
fantasy is where it's at.
yeah, and the thing I like about you, Jalen, is that you're not afraid to throw a take out there and just be gutsy with it. Like that's what fantasy football is all about. You
Yep.
never know if you're going to be right or wrong until the season starts.
Until it happened, right? Exactly.
So I mean, that's just one of the things that I wanted to get across before we really get this episode going. But like I said before, I'll reintroduce myself. My name is William Spencer. My co-host is Jalen McQueen. We
Hmm.
are from Philadelphia, and we are Dallas Cowboys fans. Are Eagles fans listening? First, I'll say, still listen,
If you
but
did about to say we just
but
lost all our listeners right then and there, but we do got another host, Eagles fan. Then
yeah,
we got another one, a Broncos fan.
so that
So it's not,
balances us out.
yeah. So you know what I'm saying? Balance us out.
Yeah, it's not going to be
Broncos, right?
a Cowboys heavy. I'll put
Right.
it like this: when it comes to fantasy football, I'm not as biased towards my Cowboys without proper information. Like,
I ain't biased towards them at all, anyway. So
all right, so let's get started with our episode. What we're going to get into first is our news and headlines from around the league. Um, there's a lot of news that I wanted to cover. Some of it's a little old, and a lot of it just like exploded in the last 2 days. So what
and
we're gonna
for and before you continue, right?
do,
What
yeah,
everybody gotta know is when you're talking about news and headlines, you gotta pay attention to the stuff that's going on in the league because it can affect the way you draft your team. If you don't
exactly.
pay attention and you just go willy nilly out there and make up your draft stock or whatever your mock draft a day before, you ain't gonna do too well. So pay attention to what Will is saying right now. All right, go ahead, Will. I just had to
So
get that out.
let's get right into our news segment. All right. So first up, we had two guys that are coming back from injury last year. They both tore their Achilles, and Emmanuel Sanders and Des Bryant both posted videos on their IG accounts of them running in cleats. Emmanuel Sanders is running in cleats for the first time since the injury. He looked like he still got some juice in them legs, and Des Bryant, uh, he
Looks old.
he
Don't, there's no reason for you to say anything else, but he looks elderly. But go
he
ahead,
doesn't look
continue.
he looked a little slow, but Dez has never really been a burner type of wide receiver.
That's true.
So he looks good. Like the fact that he's moving around and he looked like he's catching the ball. He still got hands. So if you get him a
Oh, does
50,
he now?
yeah, man. I see what you're doing, but we're not gonna get into that. We're not doing. All right. Emmanuel Sanders looks like he's going to be. He's still in recovery. The most recent news says that he won't be back until mid-July, which is probably just a precautionary thing to keep him, on pace.
That's
They
true.
don't want to rush him back, and they don't want him to injure himself. Des Bryant, not much news has been said about him, but he's still posting IG videos about during his training and stuff. So he looks like he's in closer to return. All he needs is a team to pick him up.
And if he had hands, he would have a team. But that's another situation for another day.
All right, let's keep going. Um, Benjamin Watson, the former New Orleans Saints tight end,
Mm-hmm.
said he was going to retire. Came out of retirement and signed with the New England Patriots, I believe on a 1-year deal. Uh, the thing that they already had Austin Severian Jenkins, but ASJ is made of glass, so the Benjamin Watson signing does make more sense. But the funny thing is, which will kind of segue into our next headline, Kyle Rudolph. Um, I had a conversation with some guys in a fantasy league chat that I'm in on Instagram, and he brought this up. He said, you know, the Vikings are looking. They may be looking into trading him
Oh
based
God, right.
they drafted Irv Smith during the 2019.
Which is who I wanted us to draft.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay.
But
Now,
I
go ahead.
no, I'm just saying if the Vikings looking to trade for trade Kyle Rudolph, I'm just saying Cowboys a third round and Sean Lee. I mean, we need a tight end
You still trying to pitch Sean Lee, yo?
because we got two young linebackers. You know what I'm saying? I know this a little bit off topic. I'm just saying. Sean Lee stepped in towards like the end of the season. We seen a little dip from Van Der Esch because it messed him up. You know what I'm saying? You start Sean Lee and you take him out after the first play just to give him a start and keep his record going. Then
Yeah,
you put him in the playoffs and a big freaking conversion that we needed to try to enforce this comeback with the Rams. And our best tackler, Van Der Esch, you got him on the bench. You got Sean Lee out there. Boom, first down. Now we got the playoff. I'm just saying we need to get from under these Garrett guys. Ship Sean Lee and the third round pick to the Vikings.
for
Give us
Kyle
Kyle
Rudolph.
Rudolph.
I don't know. His contract for this year is 7.5 million. You think Dallas got the space for him?
Oh, please, Jerry Jones, he got the most valuable franchise. He better he better give him a little side money. Give him a side check. Come on. And we need a tight end.
All right, but the New England Patriots got some bread too, and it just seems like players just fall into the Patriots' lap.
Yep.
You know, they
That's the
just
winning effect.
and it's like the guys that you don't expect to get there. Like this is a part of our headline too. Dontrell Inman signed with the New England Patriots too.
I'm gonna actually bring him. I like that signing. I'm gonna bring him back up too later
Okay.
on. But I do like that signing.
All right, let's keep going. Let's go to Washington. Head coach Jay Gruden says that it's an open competition for the starting quarterback job between Case Keenum, Colt McCoy, and Dwayne Haskins. Like, come on, man. Like, are you serious? Why? Why? Okay, let's be real. Let's be real, real quick. Why are we gonna do this? We already know
Listen,
what you get in Colt McCoy. You already know that Case Keenum is a
right,
journeyman.
right.
There's nothing. There's.
But
If
you
I'm
know
looking
what
for
it
my job,
proves, though,
what?
is the fact that Dwayne Haskins might not be as good. If you are in competition
Nah, nah.
with
That definitely
Case
not what I get.
Keenum, that says everything.
I put to. I'll say this. He's saying that so that he doesn't look stupid because you went out, you brought in Case Keenum, you was toting Colt McCoy before he broke his leg last year, like he was legit. Come
Well,
on, man.
well, you look dumb anyway, signing Case Keenum,
He looks dumb.
because
He looks dumb saying this.
yeah, I mean,
We're gonna
you
take
seen how the Vikings in 17, how they was so hyped up, and Case Keenum, the minute he had to place a team with a good defense, the Eagles demolished him.
Oh
And
my
then
god.
he goes, I know, but like I said, I ain't biased. The Eagles did demolish him.
Oh
I
no,
watched that
I
game.
didn't say that because I watched it too, and I'm like, he threw that one touchdown pass.
The one touchdown, the what was it, 3 minute drive?
Yep,
And then right after that,
he ghosted.
got smoked for the rest of the game. So
And then
then
it
he
was like,
goes to the Broncos. He goes to the Broncos and they fell. I mean, it's come on, get a job to Dwayne Haskins.
mm-hmm.
Let the Eagles and Cowboys beat him up in the division. It's going to happen anyway.
Because they don't have any wide receivers either, so it's like,
Yeah, it's going to happen anyway. It don't matter who's starting at the QB spot. The Eagles and the Cowboys is a two. It's a two-team race. Like
pretty much.
it's that made news and headlines.
I mean, it was more of a laughing point for me because they're in our division. So it was like I saw it and I wrote it down. I'm writing it down. I'm laughing while I'm writing it down. Like
Right.
this kid, all any Redskins fans that listen to our podcast, yeah, I feel bad for y'all. Like y'all in football purgatory right now. Y'all need to get rid of Jay Gruden and
That's the. I think they need to get rid of Jay Gruden as much as we need to get rid of Jason Garrett. The only difference between the two is it's kind of hard to get rid of Garrett because it's 12-4, 13-3, and even when you got to lose a season that's 8-8, it's not really. I think 15 we went 4-12, but that's what uh Romo was down, which is why we drafted Dak. So, but you talk about from the time that, let's say, Dak entered the league, he hasn't had a losing season. So it's kind of hard to fire somebody like that has not had a losing season. But Cowboys fans, Eagles fans, Giants fans, Redskins fans know that Jason Garrett, as long as he's the head coach, you ain't going nowhere.
I don't know. I'll say this before we move on. I kinda got a good feeling about this season. But we'll talk about that later. I'll hit you up later. Now let's stay in our division. Let's go to New York. Mike Shula, the Giants offensive coordinator, says Daniel Jones could start week 1 if needed.
Is this a joke? Is this a joke?
My thing is they were gassing up Eli Manning all off season. Oh, Eli can play another 2 seasons. Eli is still good. He's still viable. So if he's still good, why are you saying Daniel Jones could start if they need him to? Why would you need him to start?
This is obviously a joke.
No,
I
that's a lot
mean,
of funny stuff this week.
why Eli Manning shouldn't even be? Why is he starting?
I'm glad he's starting. It just makes
Well,
it.
yeah, I mean, I'm glad he's starting too. But when you talk about bad quarterbacks, I mean, didn't they trade away Webb, if I'm not mistaken?
They're
He
probably,
could have. You supposed to start him over Eli. Like Nelson. Then you got Daniel Jones. Come on, like that's not. He's not competing for a job.
I mean,
If Daniel Jones is competing against Eli, then the owner, the GM, they need to be fired because Eli in the last 3 years has won what, like 7 games?
hmm,
Last 2 years, I mean, like 7 games. He gotta go.
probably somewhere around there. Nah, I like Eli. Eli, you stay right where you are. Giants fans, yay.
No Odell and Eli. Come on, man.
I still can't trade Odell. Like that was, I don't know. But let's stay in New York. Robbie Anderson, the Jets' number one wide receiver, signs his second round tender. The deal is worth 1 year, $3 million, just
Hmm.
$3.11 million. So that's not bad for him. He's going to be their number one option up there. But the real headline is Adam Gase. He didn't
Yep.
apparently the word out of the Jets camp is that he didn't want Le'Veon Bell. He didn't want to spend big money for Le'Veon Bell
Right.
or any running back in particular. They just had two firings up in New York too. They got rid of the GM
Yeah,
and
McCagnon, something like that. I think that's his name.
wow.
But
Gase just got there and the draft already happened and you firing
right,
GM? Like
this is my thing though. Number one, I want to say first and foremost that I feel sorry for Le'Veon because what it kind of reminds me like is it reminds me of the Lakers right now. Like all this stuff going on with the Lakers, Magic stepped down, then you hire a bad coach, and then all this bullcrap happened in the front office. And LeBron, LeBron, like, what the heck? So I think Le'Veon in the same boat. You wanted to get paid, you got paid now. Then you got uh the dude getting fired. And then you got another dude talking about, oh, I didn't want Le'Veon. I didn't even want to spend big money on a running back. And then you got Adam Gase. They traded Darren Lee right to the Chiefs
for
right after he got fired because he didn't like the roster move. So it's like this is
26th round pick.
exactly,
We could
and
have league. Shoot.
this is why it don't matter unless you're the Yankees or yeah. New York is like the sports is. I feel bad for y'all. I seriously do because the Jets about to go 5-11.
Oh man, I think Gase is still reeling from them white lines that when he was in Miami, they got the other coach fired out of there.
Come on, man. Like
them uh, that nose candy.
they gotta come on, New York. We gotta get it together. Sheesh.
They can stay right where they are. I like New
Well,
York.
we don't. Well, we played the Jets this year too. So you're right. Keep going on, Adam Gase. We love you down here. You know what I'm saying? Let it carry over.
Maybe I'm a King and Drake treatment. Okay, let's keep going. Mike Breda, the running back for the San Francisco 49ers, he tells the Athletic that all three running backs are going to be used a lot.
Who is
Now,
he to tell me? Come on, you're not the coach.
okay, now listen. They don't actually have three. They're five running backs deep. They have Raheem Morster. I'm going to butcher his name. It's Mostert. Jeffrey Wilson, Breda himself,
Hmm.
Jerry McKinnon, and Tevin Coleman, who they got through free agency.
Right, right.
This screams nothing but running back by committee, and I'm staying away from it.
It looks like the situation that the Eagles in right now. You don't know really who's your main running back gonna be. So you're
I,
just trying out a bunch of different guys just to see who gonna work.
I'm going to touch on that a little later in our
But
next.
what? But why? I don't understand. Like you're a running back, you're not a coach. Now I'm all for like speaking up, but you can't tell us how all the running backs are gonna be used. You don't know.
That's true.
You you don't know.
Earlier in the off season, before I believe before they picked up Tevin Coleman, or maybe a little bit after, which the Kyle Shanahan, he was like,
Right.
their roles will be defined by them, like
You
whoever
know,
comes out, and he said something along the lines of
you don't
it's up
believe
to
that because it's the first time something goes wrong and ain't nobody get enough carries. Oh, it's the coach's decision. So keep it like that. Let the coach handle the game plan and how the running back's gonna be used, and you just run the ball.
yeah, keep it a bean. I think it's gonna be Tevin Coleman the lead,
That's what I think as well.
get the passing downs because they're paying
Right.
too much not to use him.
Right. Exactly.
All right. In other news, up in Seattle, we all know that the Seattle Seahawks cut Cam Chancellor and Doug Baldwin for failed physicals, and then a couple days later, Doug Baldwin retired via his Twitter account. Now, Doug Baldwin was a pretty decent wide receiver. Maybe not so much in terms of fantasy because when you look at his numbers, he only had really 3 good seasons.
But
Um,
that's all due to Seattle's offense. They are definitely a run first team.
yeah, you got
So if you pick in Doug Baldwin, or if you did before, it was only two. It's probably that flex spot. That's probably it. But
low end RB2, receiver two.
right, right.
Yeah,
But yeah, pretty good career. Um, Cam Chancellor, though, I think they're just trying to get rid of whatever is left of that.
he actually had injury guarantee on his contract.
He did.
He didn't he didn't come out and outright retire because he was still getting that money. So you know, it once he failed this past physical, I think his money was up for that deal, so they were able to cut him without
If
any.
you are the Cowboys, do you sign Cam? Do you try to get Cam?
I thought about that in the beginning and I tweeted it out, but
Because
I did
I am tired of Jeff Heath back there.
Jeff Heath. I think they drafted a safety.
We did draft a safety, but we drafted, if I'm not mistaken, we drafted a safety late, so I don't think he gonna get as much time. Plus, they signed who did we just sign from the Vikings to safety? I always forget his name. Um,
George Ioka.
yeah. So I'm guessing we try and flex something out there. So
Well, they're gonna have some money next year, so they got a little bread to deal
yeah,
with.
especially with us going, especially once we let Byron Jones walk.
But I had thought that Cam was gonna be available too. So when I had tweeted it out, like people kept telling me like, "Nah, Cam done, his neck is done." And I'm like, "Well, I didn't see that." And then when I dug a little deeper, come to find out it was his neck injury was career ending.
Right,
Why he didn't because he had the injury guarantee, he like unofficially retired. So he was still, going through recovery and therapy, and the Seahawks kept him on so he can collect that money.
right.
That money was up this year, so they could cut him without any fallback on their cap. Um, let's go down to to Carolina. Cam Newton says that he's feeling good. He has off-season shoulder surgery. He wants to start throwing before camp. What do you think about Cam?
What do I think about Cam?
Mhm.
Don't even get me started. I get so irritated with Cam Newton, and if I would demolish what you just asked me. Matter of fact, I am going to do it because I'm tired of hearing all the noise about our QB, Dak, right?
Hmm.
But I did a lot of research, right? And Cam, when you look at his stats, and I guess if you want to call it blessed, I've been blessed with watching Cam since he entered the league. And I'm going to just go out and say he's not really a good quarterback at
Mm.
all. Outside of that one, outside of that one great year he had in 2015 where they went to the Super Bowl, he is inaccurate. He does have a strong arm.
He got a rocket.
But what does that matter if you can't put the ball in your receiver's hands? He's inaccurate. Um,
Benjamin say the same thing. I mean, I know Kelvin Benjamin.
yeah, and he got slammed for it, right?
Yeah.
But Cam, he had if you want to call it a pretty good year last year. He threw the same amount of touchdowns as Dak, but he had about 7 more interceptions,
Hmm.
6 or 7 more interceptions.
His completion rate was just a little bit better.
Right. And see, as a quarterback, it's good to have a strong arm, but it's also good to be able to have, a little touch to give your receivers a chance. You throwing darts, like darts.
The other thing that I've seen about Cam over the last few seasons is that if things don't go his way, and I think that's what separates him and Dak, in my opinion. When things don't go his way, he kind of check out of games.
He does.
One game in particular was was 2017 when the Eagles played. I think it's when the Eagles played Carolina, and it was like back and forth for a little bit, and then you got into the fourth quarter.
Yep.
Like the Eagles was just smacking Cam around like left and right. He got sacked like maybe twice in the fourth quarter. Cox got him. I think somebody else got him. He was getting hit. And like they were at the point where they were driving down the field. They were all they had to do was get in the field goal range and they would have won the game.
Yeah, I was about to say the game was close too. I believe. Yeah.
Chucked up. He I knew he was done. He threw a bomb to Christian McCaffrey in the corner of the end zone. And I'm like, who drew this up?
Mm-hmm.
Would you throw a pass to the shortest guy on
Yep.
the field?
Yep.
And then he threw like two more bombs into the corner, and then it was fourth and forever. He wasn't getting in the field goal range like that.
Mm,
And I'm like, they only needed like it had to be like
had to be like
yards or less. It
right.
wasn't something like they couldn't pick it up. But he threw three Hail Marys and was like, no, I'm done. I'm out. I'm going to the locker
And
room
my
now.
biggest thing with Cam is, he does not make smart plays with the football. He just does not. I think he go and my thing is you've been in the league since 2011. You've been in the league for 7 years. You telling me out of those 7 years you have not yet been able to progress. I mean, I'm sorry, to go up and you throwing 13 picks, 16 picks, 14, 12, 17. It's every year. And I just don't feel like if can't I don't think he's top 15 QBs. I think he's below that.
People really like Cam Newton coming into the
But you
season
know why they like him? I want you to say it, Will. Why do they like him?
because he can run.
Yep. But last time I checked, when it comes to running, that doesn't make you a good QB. At least that's what everybody tells me.
Yeah, those running
Every,
touchdowns don't
every
mean squat.
yeah, running touchdowns don't mean it doesn't mean jack.
Mm-mm.
It don't mean nothing.
Nope. Because if the other quarterback that you're comparing him to don't run touchdowns because his knees are made of glass,
Now my thing is with Cam, what I'm saying? I do think he's a great runner of the football. What I would like to see
he's
Cam do,
athletic.
yeah, what I would like to see Cam do is take his time. And we bash other QBs for that. Sometimes, we bash Wentz for holding the ball too long. We bash Dak for holding the ball too long. But I would like to see Cam take his time and make a smart play because he don't do it.
Mm-mm.
It's
And that's what leads to those interceptions.
is you going the fly route and I'm gonna throw it as far as I can.
Or as
Interception.
hard as he can. It'd be bouncing,
Yeah, and
bouncing
and
off boys' hands.
and you seen what happened in the Super Bowl when they took that away. He
Mm-hmm.
can't. It killed him. They got torched. He couldn't make any smart plays with the football, and that's exactly what's wrong with Cam. So I'm going into this season. Just take your time. I think the Panthers did a great job in drafting a QB, just in case Cam continues with the shoulder injury.
Mm-hmm.
So
Insurance.
Cam, from my eyes, it looks like Cam on a hot seat. So he got to play his way out that hot seat.
On a high seat, but you need somebody to be able to step in if and when he goes down again, because that shoulder injury when he got hurt, it was like he couldn't do anything.
But my thing is, if your shoulder is that bad, then why are you rushing back?
Because that's his job. His job's on the line. Like I said, I don't think he's in the
No,
hot
his
seat.
job is to play the quarterback position. If the shoulder is limiting you that much for you not to be able to throw the ball how you want to throw it, then what I'm saying, then sit out because you can't bring up that shoulder excuse when things don't go right. You don't throw interceptions because your shoulder hurt.
And I think that's the second time he's had surgery on that shoulder.
Yeah, so two surgeries in what, like the last 2 years, 3 years. You got just sit. They drafted the QB. Let the QB, what I'm saying, let him play the first 3 games, and then if you feeling better after that, then you come in and go ahead and throw your 16 interceptions.
Oh, cold blooded. All right, now if you thought that was news, you got to take a look at this. Joe Flacco told reporters that he's not going to mentor Drew Lock. He says it's not my job to do that. My job is to win football games.
Right.
If I'm Drew Lock, I'm going like this right now. Because he just dodged the bullet. What could Joe Flacco actually teach you about being a quarterback?
He's a
Like
Super Bowl champion.
yeah, but we come on, man. We all know that was Ray Lewis. That was the Baltimore Ravens defense.
It was.
That
No. I can't let you say that. I'm sorry. I
okay.
can't because did you I think in that playoff run, Flacco threw for like what 11 touchdowns, no interceptions. Flacco actually played extremely well to get to the Super Bowl to win that Super Bowl. But I will say this: Super
Oh,
Bowl that's long gone.
yeah, I was about to. That's what I was
It
about to come back with. The NFL is about what have you done lately, and
right,
what has Joe Flacco done lately?
nothing
Absolutely
at
nothing.
all.
He's been hurt the last 2 seasons. He got traded to Denver for a corner store hoagie and a French fry platter. Like they basically got him for nothing, and he doesn't have any guaranteed money on his contract.
No,
Basically, you're saying you want to win football games for a team, but you're just the bridge guy. If you got anything to offer as far as being a mentor, it's not like, oh, well, you know what, Joe, we're gonna keep you for a couple years. Nah, boy, you are the bridge guy. We got the Denver's like we got our quarterback for the future.
they don't know that, and I wouldn't believe that either. If
You
I
don't
okay, I completely disagree with you. Completely, be um respectfully disagree because it is not his job to coach the young quarterback. I mean, you'll do it, unintentionally, oh, you need to make this throw, you need to throw that a little bit better, you need to lead him, better, you need to get that ball out quicker. He'll do that stuff. But when it comes to mentoring the QB, that's what you got a QB coach for. It's not his job. And then when you talk about what could Joe offer him, I mean, he could offer him a lot. I mean, he been in the league for a while. He's seen some things. He dealt with injuries. Injuries happen. If that young QB goes through any injuries, Joe could teach him how to get through that. Not being part of the team.
that's the case. Well, that's what you got your strength and conditioning coaches for. That's what you got the medical staff for the team for. Joe don't need to teach you how to get through injuries.
No, but see, it's different. Okay, put it like this. Let's take who. Okay, let's take Carson and Foles, right?
Mhm.
When Carson got hurt, he not really being talked to on the sideline. Foles, not, and it's not like a shot, but I'm saying, Foles is out there. Foles is with the coach. Foles is with the QB coach, looking at the plans. You know what I'm saying?
And then you see Wentz over there sitting in the corner.
Not like really.
I've been here before. I can
Right.
help you get through this. Give me a break, man.
I'm just saying. It, I'm just saying. Besides the point, he'll do it unintentionally, but Joe Flacco is absolutely correct.
But
I'm
that's
not here to
teammate.
teach you that. I'm here to win games, which he is there to try to win games. Besides the fact that Elway can't draft a QB or pick a QB, he has no eyes when it comes to quarterback position.
Okay, now before you keep going, yeah, he's trying to win games. The last 4 seasons in Baltimore, 3-7 before injury, 8-8, 9-7, and 4-5 before he got bumped out. Yeah, he's definitely trying to win some games.
Wait. But see, Pete, what you just said though. He didn't say he gonna win games. He said he trying to win games. It's a big difference. It's a big difference. You know what I'm saying?
I wish I had my drop board up so I could
I'm just saying.
sit your door.
I'm just saying. So I think Joe Flacco complete, as a young QB, you don't want to hear that because it comes off a little bit, I'm saying arrogant. But at the same time, Joe Flacco is absolutely correct. That's not my job. It's a quarterback's job. He getting paid, or the quarterback coach's job. He getting paid to do that job. Do your job. Coach
And
the
I
young bull up, and then
disagree with you. If you the QB and you got a little time, like, look, you know what? Let me help the young boy out. He new here. Let me show him the ropes a little bit. I ain't saying you got to hold his hand and this is how you throw the football.
you think Brett Favre did that to Aaron Rodgers?
Brett Favre was a tool though.
But but that's my point.
Aaron Rodgers ain't need Brett Favre.
But that's my point. Aaron Rodgers didn't. He didn't bring up Brett. I mean, Brett Favre didn't bring up Aaron Rodgers on the sideline. He didn't coach him either.
Because Favre was worried about. Come on, man. When you
You
got a
think
guy
Eric
like
Bledsoe did it to
Rodgers,
Tom Brady? No. That's what you got to coach for.
all right. Well, I mean, you got Bill Belichick there. That's different.
Come on. Bill Belichick is he a defensive minded
Dude,
coach.
he
But
churns. He churns out on the low. He churns out good QBs, and then they go other. They go in New England. They look great
that's
in
true.
the system, and then they leave and they deteriorate. Well,
That's not true.
no.
Recently, that's not true.
Um. Uh. Did you
You
see
got
Jacoby? Did
Jimmy
you see Jacoby
Garoppolo in
Brissett when he
40.
was with Indiana?
What'd you say?
Did you see Jacoby Brissett?
Wait, time out. I was actually going to bring that up. I was actually going to bring that up because I knew that you would skip over Jimmy G in San Fran. You would go right to Jacoby Brissett. Now
Jimmy
Jacoby
G
Brissett,
can't stay healthy. I mean, he looks good for the 5 games that he's been. What 10 games over
I
two
think
seasons?
so. Now
And
Jacoby
now,
Brissett,
to be fair, I'm
he
sorry.
didn't. He's not. I don't think he's not a bad QB. Is he Jimmy G? No, but don't forget that they take when they need to make a long throw, a Hail Mary, they take out Andrew Luck and put a Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, I should have known you was gonna go that route. Before Andrew Luck proceeded to roast the NFL, it wasn't Pat Mahomes like, but he was the number 2 quarterback in fantasy last year.
Yeah, Andrew Luck he's a beast.
That was just Frank Reich doing what he was
You got it.
supposed to.
Yeah, you got that with
Easy on Luck,
Jacoby. Listen,
he proceeded to throw like 30 something touchdowns.
give Jacoby Brissett to never mind. The Jags got Foles now, but I don't know. Give him to the Bills or I don't know somebody.
Mm-mm.
The Dolphins.
He on
He
the
might play
street.
pretty good.
He on the street, just where he need to be, or he's probably still on the Colts behind Andrew Luck.
He is.
Good spot there. But that's enough for our news and headline segment. Now we're going to get into the meat of our podcast, the top rookies post draft. The NFL draft we were a few weeks removed from it, but now that everybody's got a spot, we can get into some of the rookies that I think are going to have a faster impact on their teams and for your fantasy teams this season. So let's get into that right now. All right. Now, I have quite a few guys on my list.
How about you only give 2? You give 2, I give 2. So I'll let you choose. Now listen, I'll let you choose. All right, how about this? You give your 2, I give my 2. Did we both choose a sleeper?
Okay.
Fair.
That's fine. You made me. Oh, it's
all right. So listen, I'll go first, so you can get your list together.
All right, go ahead.
I'll go first. All right. So my number 1 draft prospect is Devin Bush, drafted by the Steelers, a linebacker.
You going IDP?
Listen, I think Devin Bush is going to be great for the Steelers. Losing Ryan Shazier, they definitely need that dog. Hold up the middle. I think he'll be that dog. I think he'll definitely bring that Steelers defense back to where where it was when Ryan Shazier was there. I still think they need help in the secondary. But towards the end of the season, the secondary actually was playing really well. But now with Devin Bush, I think he's great at stopping the run. I think that can help. But with drafting defenses and fantasy, you're not going to pick the Steelers defense just because of one player. But I think that's my biggest draft prospect. I think he can help turn the Steelers around.
If you're in an IDP league, though, Devin Bush could be that guy. Since he's going to be in the middle, he's going to see a lot of action.
Right.
If you're in a league where you get points for tackles and sacks, that might be the guy that you can get.
Right.
Like I wanted to get Leighton Vander Esch last year, but he got scooped up the moment he started getting hot.
Yep.
Because I'm in a 14 team league, IDP league.
And speaking of Van Der Esch, I actually did have a comparison because he actually is a really good tackler. And if I'm not mistaken, I think his 40 time was a little bit faster than Van Der Esch. So if that's true, you're looking at, if he can live up, or not, I don't want to say live up to Van Der Esch because it's not like he really did anything yet. It's not like he's a Hall of Famer or a great. But if he could be Van Der Esch for the Steelers, that's pretty good compared to what they needed last year. So I'm just saying that's a steal that like you said, IDP didn't. I would take Devin Bush most definitely.
All right. Who's your other guy?
All right, my other guy is N'Keal Harry.
Patriots.
I'm just saying the Patriots, and then now that okay. Let me just go through it. You gonna like DK Metcalf. I know that because Dog Baldwin retired. I know you. That's who you gonna go with. But
You're cheating. It's like you're looking on my paper.
that's who everybody gonna go with. But
Okay, go ahead.
although now I got some comparisons who I think he could be. Now because he's not the fastest receiver or the quickest, but he's a pretty good route runner. He does block well, and he got strong hands, and he can play both the outside and the inside wide receiver spot. Now, my comparison, and you gonna probably laugh at this, is Des Bryant.
Really?
Yeah. Now,
Harry is
I think he could be the Des Bryant for the Patriots. Um, and then you also the biggest factor of it all, you got Tom Brady.
mm-hmm.
Um, you got one of the best passers in the league. Um, that offensive line, you know, Tom Brady definitely is. You see how he is with the videos with Edelman, and before.
Worried about. I'm sorry, I ain't trying to cut
No,
you
no,
off.
go ahead.
Aren't you worried about Tom Brady? He's getting older. The offense doesn't really. It looks like it's about to change because you don't have Gronk anymore.
What
You're
happened last season? Who won that Super Bowl?
no. Come on, man! It wasn't like they blew out the Rams.
Okay,
That was scarce.
how Tom Brady looking against the Chiefs against Patrick Mahomes?
I mean, that was a gunfight.
But how he looked? Did he look old?
He ain't look old. You right.
So this is my thing with Tom Brady. Tom Brady plays how he needs to play against that opponent. I guarantee you, if Jared Goff, let's say for instance Jared Goff, they would have been gunslinging, right?
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you Tom Brady would have did the same thing. Tom Brady is who he needs to be.
Make him sound like Batman.
You just stole it out of my mind. I was about to say he is Batman. He is exactly who he needs to be. So you got Tom Brady, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, you don't have to worry about him calling out rookies or not trying to help, not trying to help the receivers like Aaron Rodgers. Then you got you got help with Edelman. He's a vet, and like you talked about earlier, Inman, to help him, with the little stuff to help him become a better receiver. And he's 6'2".
Thomas.
Yeah, and Demarius Thomas exactly. And if Josh Gordon come back, if he reinstated, which I doubt will happen, but you got him too. So,
They
so
on that front, I gotta confirm this. So I'm just put this out there and then try and confirm it later.
right.
So disclaimer, I'm not sure. I'm just stuff that I've heard from other people on Twitter,
But
I'm like,
But if Josh Gordon comes back, think about that. If Josh Gordon comes back, you got Josh Gordon, Demarius Thomas, Edelman, Inman, and then you got a rookie, a big 6'2" rookie, 228. Come on. He's only going to go up from, where he is. He slipped all the way to the last pick of the round. But I'm saying? I think he's going to be really good for Tom Brady. And if he could be what Des Bryant was for Romo, let's say Des' second year. You seen in Des' first year, he was going to be a pretty good receiver. But Des' second year with him and Tony Romo, and they was taking over the league, I think that could be N'Keal Harry with Tom Brady, and that's going to wind up being the biggest steal of the draft.
I like it. I wasn't sold on N'Keal Harry. I'm still kind of not because I'll say like, it's like more 60-40 in favor because the Patriots just they get real weird when it comes to their wide receivers. Like, everybody was hype about Chris Hogan a couple years ago, and then
Right.
last year Chris Hogan basically disappeared, and they were just like throwing to James White and throwing to spreading the ball around to their receivers. It was like no real
Right.
dominant receiver. But if he can, get, even if he gets anywhere near what Dennis
Right.
White was for Romo, that's a nice pick. All right,
And
now let's
that's
go.
what I'm saying.
I'm gonna get into mine. You cheated a little bit because I was gonna talk about DK Metcalf.
Right.
I don't want to talk about him now because you ruined it. That was one of mine. All right, I'll just say this. I like this position that DK Metcalf is in
Uh-huh.
because without Doug Baldwin there, they're gonna slide Tyler Lockett to the slot, which means it's gonna be. They did draft another. They did draft two more wide receivers. I know one of them is Gary Jennings, the fourth round pick, and I
Right.
can't remember the sixth round pick that they got. But you got Garrett
Uh,
Jennings, DK Metcalf, David Moore from last season, and the sixth round pick. I think DK is going to be the guy who will be used in the red zone. I
right.
think he'll get there. Seattle ran the ball really well last year, but I don't think they're going to do that as much, because the NFL just catches up to what you're doing. So you have to add more to your offense. So I would say that Seattle will go a little bit more balanced as opposed to run heavy. So I think that's where DK can get out there and take advantage of the opportunity because
Right.
he's a big guy, 6'3". He runs a 4.3.
Right.
He got speed, size, and hands. So you don't have any other red zone targets to use. That's where DK Metcalf can thrive. And if he gets like 5, 6 targets a game and he's getting shots in the red zone, that's good enough for what? RB. Oh, why do I keep doing that? Not RB. Wide wide receiver two, maybe a solid flex, and then
See,
if
but
he
my
shows
thing
he proves
is with the Seahawks, are they or with DK Metcalf? I don't know because are you going to handcuff Russell Wilson again, or are you
himself,
going?
you mean throwing the ball?
Yeah, throwing the ball.
No. Why would you need to? You still got the run game. You still going to use Chris Carson and Rashad Jennings. Chris can catch out of the backfield.
Mm-hmm.
You still have Tyler Lockett in the slot. You don't have to. And Russell can run. That that's versatility, at least in two out of the three positions. So
Okay.
you don't have to pigeonhole Russ to make him throw. Russ will
Right.
do that on his own, and he can improvise. And when you improvise, when you got to chase Russell around like that, that frees up the wide receiver because now you got the DBs chasing them for longer than 3 or 4 seconds.
Right.
I think that's where DK Metcalf can excel
All right. Who your second one?
at. You're making me choose. All right. Um, I'll give you. Man, I'll give you Miles Sanders. I was gonna go Josh Jacobs, but that's more obvious
Mm-hmm.
because of Isaiah Crowell going down. He's out for
Right.
the season.
Exactly.
Doug Martin is not a threat, in my opinion. So Josh is going to be that man in the backfield. But I like Miles Sanders out of Penn State. Philly grabbed him, and he's he unfortunately he's going to end up in that running back by committee,
Yep.
which I
That's my
think
sleeper too. By the
is
way.
kind
So I guess you're looking at my paper now.
of stupid. That means I got a better sleep. I think I got a better sleeper than you then.
Well,
But
that's my sleeper. So go ahead.
he's not a sleeper though. I mean, because of the
Well,
running back by committee,
he
he will be.
is. I'm about to say that's the reason why though, because
But
they
if you
also
look at it, look at. All right, let me give you his last year, his numbers for his last year in college.
oh I know.
220 carries.
Yep.
Oh, you 12 over 1,200 yards, nine
Hmm.
touchdowns, 5.8 yards per carry. And he can catch 24 catches, 139 yards, and 5.8 yards per catch.
Right.
He's already in an offense where he won't see loaded boxes because of the passing attack by the Eagles.
Hmm.
Carson Wentz, a threat, and this is unbiased talking. Like, I'm not going to hate on Wentz right now because he's a good passer. You have those things. You have Ertz, Alshon, Deshaun Jackson now is over there as a deep
Deshaun
threat.
Jackson is not a threat. I'm sorry.
Look, all you need him to do is, hey, go run that go route and take the corner and the safety over there.
First of all, what you should have probably did was name Aguilar first and then Deshaun Jackson.
Benefits because of everybody else. Don't even start with like he's that guy. He's
No,
good
but
because
exactly
everybody
what
else
you just
around him is
said. Exactly. That's what makes him better than he is.
he's trash. But anyway, oh, all right. Look, you bringing out bad stuff in me, man. I'm trying to they have a passing attack that's legit. So when you have all those weapons there, I don't think that you're going to see a lot of loaded boxes. He's already better than Jordan Howard running the ball and
Oh
Corey
my
Clement
goodness.
catching the pass. You know what? It's true.
You can't compare running in college to an NFL.
I,
So
all right.
you can't say he better than Jordan Howard. Say
I think he will be better than Jordan
okay,
Howard.
there you go. There you go. That's
I think
better.
he will be better than Jordan Howard. Jordan Howard averaged 3.7 yards per carry last year. What do you freaking do? Now he could do better because he's in a better offense.
I'm about to
Um,
say now the
minus
fact you should even have brought that up though, because Jordan Howard, number one, was playing with Trubisky,
Mitch.
who is exactly what his first name is. Exactly.
Mitch.
So I mean, him averaging three and what was it, 3.7 yards a
But
carry?
Trubisky is supposed to have an arm too. Like so.
Come on, seriously,
I'm not. I see this
seriously.
kind of
He couldn't beat the Eagles secondary, and they all were like hired like that. The Eagles just found the king of pressure mall. He couldn't even get 20 points on them. So come on now.
Twitter told me that those guys were legit. Like Maddox was locking boys down,
No,
and
no.
that's
So
what Twitter told me. I'm just repeating it.
I'm just saying, you put Jordan Howard in the Eagles offense. That might go up to, let's say, like 4.8, 4.7
But here's the
ish.
problem: he can't catch.
He
He can't
can't
catch.
catch. No, he can't.
So you're basically you're doing a committee where
But
Jordan
he
Howard is
can't
supposed to be
catch,
out.
right?
No,
But
he can't.
how often does Wentz check down to running backs anyway?
But that's the thing. When you got a guy in Miles Sanders who can do it all, that adds another dimension to your
That's
offense.
true.
Now you don't have to keep changing out uh, player. You don't have to keep changing out running backs because you have a guy who can run and catch.
That's
If
true.
I need if it's 3rd and 7, I need to change out. We're not running the ball with Jordan Howard. Who you fooling back there? He's not going to run for 7 yards
Right.
first down on
So are
third.
you saying draft Miles Sanders just to catch the ball at the backfield? Is
I'm
he like
saying
the
draft.
Eagles' new Sproles? Or are you saying like
No, what I'm saying is Miles Sanders is going to. If Doug Peterson is as smart as everybody in Philadelphia is saying,
which I think
Miles
he is, right?
Sanders Miles Sanders will have that job by the end of the season. Just off the simple fact that
Wow.
do better. And I was gonna save that hot take for hot take
Wow.
Tuesday. I was
So
gonna
you
say
saying he gonna take
he's gonna
Jordan
have the
Hot?
job. He's gonna take the job
Wow.
by before the end of the season. I'm saying I'll even give you the midway point. Midway in the season, he should have
Week
that job.
week 8. You
He should
saying
have
that's
that
all
job.
Miles Sanders?
He should because if he's
Wow.
as good as advertised and he can do it all, why are you having him in a committee with
Well, I guess it
Jordan
really
Howard?
wouldn't matter because the Eagles got Jordan Howard for a bag of sour cream and onion chips.
Yeah, and
So
his contract is only a year.
right.
So if Miles Sanders can outperform Jordan Howard in the first half of the season, and he's a better catcher than Corey Clement, what am I doing a running back committee for?
Okay.
They're only good now if they come out and spell him.
All right. So who's your sleeper?
Alexander Madison. Do you even know who that is?
I don't, but I'm pretty sure you're gonna tell me anyway.
Yep, back out of Boise State. He got selected in the 3rd round by the Minnesota Vikings. Now, this is a guy who I think has the potential to be able to start this season because we all know that Dalvin Cook,
Injury prone.
he's good, but he's made a Charmin. He,
Not Glass, Sherman.
yeah, he made a shot. Like it's just it's just sad to see guys that have so much talent and they just can't stay healthy.
Right.
And like I I'm high on him this year. Like I like Dalvin Cook, but if I pick Dalvin Cook in any of my leagues, and I
He a
don't,
flex RB.
yep, he's a
Yep.
flex, and he he has potential. But if I'm picking Dalvin Cook, I'm definitely coming back around and I'm getting Alexander Madison.
Right.
It means like me and you can't be in leagues no more because now you know my secret and I'm gonna have to kill you. So
Not really. I mean, I was better than you anyway, so it kind of be like taking a step down.
oh, we gonna have,
We got a draft coming up anyway, right?
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
but as far as Alexander Madison, this guy, he was a beast in college. He had 2,000 yard seasons. In 2017, he had 1,086 yards and 12 touchdowns.
Hmm.
Catch, he's had like 27 and 28 catches per season. Um, in 2018, he had over 1,400 yards and 17 touchdowns. Like, ball can ball. He's not a burner. Like, he's
He's a
shifty.
power. I mean,
He's a bigger back.
what I was gonna say is, do you think he'll have an impact running the ball really with Kirk Cousins back there?
Yeah, uh, they have to figure out what they're gonna do as far as the passing game goes.
Because with the Redskins, when they had Kirk Cousins, I mean, they didn't really, they wasn't known for running the ball.
But they got John D. Filippo out of there last season, and the guy they brought in, he likes to run the ball, and that's what they're gonna get to. So
Well,
that's
hopefully, because Kirk Cousins is trash, so they need to get the
he
ball out of his hands. Oh, wait. I'm sorry.
he's
He's not trash for fantasy.
he's not trash. He's not real bad for fantasy, but
He's
for
trash if you're a Vikings fan.
the playoffs in real life football, nah,
Hmm.
he's not the guy, and he don't.
Right.
Apparently, he doesn't play well on big spot games.
No, he doesn't, which is why
Which is weird.
Dak is what,
Like, do you
almost undefeated against him.
if it's like Kirk Cousins goes into the arena and
The
he's
big,
like, oh my
the
god,
light's not for everybody though.
but you play professional football. The lights are
That's
on
true.
all, whether it's a Thursday night game or Sunday night game. Like if he play, so you mean to tell me he can come in and play at a 4 o'clock game and be fine, but if it's 8 o'clock, he gonna freeze. Like what?
That's how he is.
Well, in any case, I think Madison has an opportunity to play this year because Dalvin Cook is made of Charmin. So if he can get in and perform,
Right.
put some heat on Dalvin Cook. When you have 1,000 yard rusher in college and he comes in and he actually does well, eh, that that's I would put Madison as a stash if you get him by himself
Right.
handcuffed to Dalvin Cook because you know at any given moment Dalvin Cook could go down. It lessens the risk for having Dalvin Cook if you either draft running back heavy or you go and get Alexander Madison later on in the draft because I don't think a lot of people are aware of this guy. I don't think
So
they know.
thank you for bringing him up. Now you let us all know.
You know, I do what I can. I drop a little gem every now and then, but I definitely want to give props to Angelo underscore fantasy for putting me on even further because you got to see this. I'm gonna tag you in this his breakdown on Twitter, but it was legit. He actually sent me another guy I'm gonna look into later on. But those are my selections for the top rookies. There are a few more, but you know these are the guys
We'll
I'm
get
really
into
trying
it.
to get into
Right.
that may have an impact. Like I'll just give you some names of the other guys that I had. Like I had Debo Samuels. I had Paris Campbell. I was going to lead off with Josh Jacobs. You already knew that. You cheated.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And another guy, Paris Campbell, and the boy from the Steelers, Deontay Johnson. If
I
he,
was going to bring him up too, but I don't think you have a bigger impact
yeah, not
on a
right.
team. Right.
kind of deep. They got James Washington there. They got Dante Moncrief. He's on a 1 year deal,
Yep.
I believe. But if Dante's gone and James doesn't work out, they talking about he could be Antonio Brown. Deontay Johnson could be Antonio Brown light.
No. No.
I mean,
No.
he's drawing a lot of comparisons to Antonio Brown, but that's just some of the guys that we wanted to go over. Um, Before we wrap this episode up, I do want to get into. We're going to start getting into our rankings. Um, Hopefully by the next episode. Drake should have. He's taking forever. He's like the old man podcast. Like he was supposed to be on in our first recording, and I kind of jacked that up with moving around, testing out this new application we're using for our podcast. And Drake Drake should be coming on. Drake, Mr. Chestnut, he should be coming on in episode 3, unless he falls asleep or something. But
So what rankings we doing?
we're gonna start off with our early running back rankings heading into the 2019 fantasy draft. Uh, but for now, let's give them a little teaser. Let's list our top 3. I'll let you go first.
Okay. My top 3. You should listen to me.
Oh God!
Number 1 is Todd Gurley.
Wow,
Number 2 is Saquon, and number 3 is Christian McCaffrey.
you cheat!
Am I missing somebody? No, I don't think
Yeah,
so.
you missing somebody?
Nah, I don't think so.
Zeke,
Zeke.
and it's not even cowboy bias. I'm just like
Oh wait, what's your top 3?
my top 3 is Zeke, Saquon, and Christian McCaffrey.
You got Zeke number 1.
Yep.
All right,
Number one.
people, don't listen to him, and I'm about to explain why.
Like,
Nah,
go
we
ahead,
not
sucker.
we not going to take up too
Real
much of
quick.
y'all time, right?
Mhm.
Listen, Zeke gets you a lot of yards, true, but he don't score the football like Todd Gurley, Saquon, or Christian McCaffrey.
Mhm.
Zeke has had double-digit rushing touchdowns in one season, and that was when he first got drafted. The next 2 seasons, single digits. You go with Todd Gurley, he scores the football, gets you almost the same amount of yards as Zeke. Saquon scores the football. Um, he had a pretty good first year. We'll see how it do second year. And Christian McCaffrey catches the football, scores when he catches the ball, scores when he runs the ball. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Zeke, I don't even have Zeke is number 6 on my list. Actually,
Number 6.
number 6.
There's a
But we're
violation.
not going. We're not going to go that far down.
There's a
It's only
violation.
about the top 3. So if you want to win in fantasy, don't listen to Will.
Okay, now see, let me shoot you full of holes real quick because number
Mm-hmm.
one, Ezekiel Elliott got suspended last season and he missed 6 games. That's why he hasn't been able to have double digit.
All right, but okay, so he didn't get double. But that's a fact that he didn't get double digit. I don't care
But
about
explain it why.
why he didn't. He didn't.
The why is a big part.
No,
The,
it's not.
okay, it's not a big part. Okay, so the fact that he got
Listen.
stabbed
So wait, Zeke got suspended in 6 games, right?
hmm and he had
You
7 touchdowns.
7 touchdowns, right?
Before he got
Exactly.
suspended.
So you telling me out of the 10 games you played, you couldn't get 2 rushing touchdowns a game? No,
Really?
because you got him in your number 1 spot. So I'm just trying to figure out why you got him number 1 if he can't even get you 2 rushing touchdowns a game.
He had 2 in week 6 and week 7.
That's only 2 games you mentioning.
But he's scoring a touchdown and he scored
So
a
wait,
touchdown
you
almost.
telling me that he gave you 2 touchdowns in week 6 and week 7? That's 4 out of the 7 touchdowns. That's bad, Will.
Okay, that's
You
bad.
know what Ty Gurley gave you last year? 17.
But
Now how many games are in the season? 16. So that's a touchdown a game.
that's great. So when that arthritis in his knee flares up and he blows out his knee,
He'll still have more touchdowns than Zeke. I guarantee you that.
he's on the bench. I can't. I'll put it to you like this: I can't put Todd Gurley that high right now. That the lack of news around Todd Gurley and his knee, whether it's his recovery, whether it's the
Even if
arthritis.
I didn't put Ty Gurley number one, let's say I switch it around. Let's say Ty Gurley's not going to play, right?
Mhm.
Let's say I switch it around. Then it would go Saquon, Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara.
Uh, I,
Zeke is not top five in fantasy. I'm sorry, he's not.
I
Saquon with
struggle
that
with
bad offensive line, and no way am I saying he better than Zeke. I'm not saying it, but he gave you 11 touchdowns.
yeah, he did. But you don't have Odell Beckham in a wide receiver core anymore. Eli is getting older and he's a bum. The offensive line is not good, and Saquon is the rushing
Will,
attack on the ground. You don't think
I'm
he's going
sorry,
to see?
Will.
You don't think he's going to see more loaded
No, no, he will. He will. But
He's just
Zeke
gonna run through
played all games last year. But no, not all. He played 15 games last year.
because he said
He gave you 6 rushing touchdowns.
and 3 receiving touchdowns for a total of 9 on the
And
season.
that's still under 10, Will. It's still under 10.
What I'm telling you, all right, the reason I have Zeke at number one, and this is not a slight to Todd Gurley. I still have Todd Gurley in my top five. I just want to be more comfortable. If I'm spending a number one pick on a guy, I want him to be durable. I want him to be a part of the offense, and I want him to have the potential to score. And I think with the change,
The,
hear me out. With the change from Scott Linehan to Kellen Moore,
here we go. Don't do it.
it's all about potential upside. He has the opportunity. He's getting the carries. He just wasn't used enough in the red zone,
That
which was weird. It's like you get under the 10 or under the 5 and you're throwing passes. Why? You have one of the best running backs in the league and you're
you
not
know
using
why they throwing
it.
passes?
Why?
Because he can't score.
He can score.
And he has the same amount of rushing touchdowns as our QB. That's bad.
I think that's poor
Dak
utilization of Zeke.
Dak has 6 rushing touchdowns.
Red zone efficiency for the Cowboys was ranked in the 30s. They were 30th.
And that's all.
That's not just on Zeke. That's the offensive coordinator. That's on the quarterback.
It most definitely is. But if Zeke was capable of scoring in the red zone,
Justified.
I'm pretty sure that he would have the ball.
Who? Zeke?
If Zeke was capable of scoring in the red zone, I'm pretty sure he would have the ball.
Yeah, he could, but there's factors to that too. You had injuries across the offensive line. Offensive line. You got Travis Frederick coming back this year. Tyron Smith is healthy. Zach Martin is healthy. Connor Williams is getting another year in the system.
Oh God, you named everybody. You named that bum.
Look, I'm not gonna lie. The young boy was getting rocked last year, but he was smaller. He's bulked up. He's putting on weight. He's
Bulking up is always not a good thing.
for offensive lineman. Yeah, it is. That's what you want. You want
Okay,
your offensive line to have some meat. They the meat and potatoes of the offense.
listen,
All right,
Todd Gurley, Saquon, Christian McCaffrey. If you want to win, that's the way to go.
I'm not going to disagree with Christian McCaffrey. I actually just did a fantasy outlook on Christian McCaffrey, and I got him listed. He is, I think he is a top 3 running back pick for this year's draft. He's bulked up too. So you saying bulking up for him is not good?
It may not be. Sometimes bulking up puts you more risk of getting hurt.
Oh, okay.
But we'll see.
I
But those are our rankings.
the way he's used in the offense, I think bodes well for him. You can't predict injuries, so I
Hmm
can go that route. But he has, as long as Cam Newton isn't stealing red zone scores from him,
You can say the same thing about Dak and Zeke, but okay.
uh, I think. Yeah, but if you want the offense itself to be good, you have to be able to use both of them. And I don't think that Carolina is more prone to using Cam Newton in the red zone like Dallas should be using Dak in the red zone. He only had 4 scoring touchdowns last year. Cam Newton only had 4 touchdowns last year. In the red
I think Dak is used well in the red zone, though. I think what they should do is call him more because of how
how
how efficient yeah, but say he's really efficient when he runs. You know what I'm saying? He's a smart runner.
Mm.
He got great like ball carrier vision and he looks for the hole and boom, he out. So That's why I don't put Zeke top 5.
Mhm.
But we'll see. Next episode, maybe.
Yeah, we know we're gonna get into it in depth in our next episode. So you better have your homework ready.
My homework stays ready.
I think Saquon is due for. I think Saquon is gonna have a bit of a regression this year. And the reason I say it is, like I said before, the offensive line is not good. Yeah, they got some new pieces, but it's for right now, it's not looking good. Eli's old.
Right.
Odell's not there. Are the wide receivers a threat enough to
No,
keep
they're not.
from seeing loaded boxes? I don't think.
No, they're not. But I will say this in the same sense, Zeke, even when, like, let's say 17, when Dez was just a shell of himself, Witten was old and couldn't go to work, Terrence Williams was hurt. Um, when we went through all that problem, offensive line, although they stacked the box, Zeke still, um, even though with the 6 game suspension, he still almost led the league in rushing.
Mhm.
So sometimes it don't matter if they stack the box or not. If you're a great running back, you're gonna be great. So you never know.
I just don't like it. I know for a fact that Saquon's going to be drafted that high coming in this year. He's already tied for first place with Zeke, per fantasy football calculator.
All right. So as I was saying, right, you pick Zeke number one, you're gonna mess your whole team up.
Mm. I want to save this, and
Oh, it's gonna be published.
I'm
You're gonna post it, and
think
everybody who laughs at me for saying that, just remember, I'm a Cowboys fan. So if you laugh at me for saying that, just remember, I have a strong reason. I watch every single Cowboys game.
hmm and I'm telling you right now, they're gonna have to. You got to change. They have to change their offense because it can't be that bad going into the season again. You can't be ranked 30th in the red zone. You can't
I
give.
don't see a big improvement, to be honest. I'm gonna tell you why. It's because Keelan, he was sitting behind Linehan the whole time. If you had that much of input, then I'm pretty sure you would have. Maybe we should do it. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we should do it this way. I mean,
We already know how Scott Linehan was running that offense, man.
that's true.
Iron Fist style. He wasn't trying to hear none of that. If it wasn't from his mouth to the players' ears, he wasn't trying to take in no input like that. It was
I
his
don't
show.
blame it all on Linehan, but he did have a big
Look,
part in that.
when you got wide receivers telling you, "Look, man, this is trash. We need to do something different," and he like, "No, you know what?
That's true.
You can go ride the bench real quick though," and then you don't see like it happened to Allen Hurns last year. Allen Hurns was like, "Yo, this is stupid. The DBs are sitting on our routes. We need to do something different." And he said it out in public. You ain't hear from Allen Hurns until the Jaguars game.
Yep.
So, and then they now this is speculation, real quick. Amari Cooper said the same thing after they beat the Eagles. Yo,
Yep. He did.
The
He did.
DBs are sitting on my route. He told Dak like, "Look, we need to change this." And Dak was like, apparently, as the story goes, Dak was like, "Nah, come on, let's just rock the play." And then they got to the line, and Dak saw what he saw, and he looked at Amari Cooper, and he changed the play, and Amari Cooper was like, "Bet," and then they scored a
Yep.
75-yard touchdown.
Yep. I
So,
remember.
and then the next couple of weeks, Amari Cooper disappeared. So, I mean, he hit
Hmm.
targets, but it was just like they weren't good possession.
That's true. I
You
can't.
know,
I can't argue on that one.
I mean, that's just speculation. But we're gonna get real deep into our running back rankings, our earlier running back rankings in our next episode. So let's wrap this episode with one more question. How are you
Yep.
getting ready? How are you getting ready for the fantasy football season coming up?
I'm a big mock draft dude. So once we get, you know, I recommend once you get your place in fantasy, I suggest you do a bunch of mock drafts. I usually do about 5, and then I like to see out of those 5 was my best lineup. Try to predict who gonna go where, and you go from there. But I suggest do a lot of mock drafts and stick to your notes. Don't deviate from them.
Mm-hmm. What I like to do to get ready for the fantasy season is, like you said, Jalen, doing mock drafts helps. I generally like to wait until I get all my draft positions for each league, so I know where I'm picking. So that way I can get a glimpse of what players are going in what round, what players I plan to target each round, and just in case a player gets picked before or in the round that I'm selecting, I have a backup just in case. Uh, Mock drafts help relax, relax. They kind of help you relax, especially if you're coming into the league and you're new. Um, it gives you kind of like a you do if you get a repetition because you do them over and over, and it kind of calms you down. So that way, when you get into your league draft, you're more prepared on and what you're seeing, how things go, and you get a pace for how fast players are being picked and stuff like that. The one thing mock drafts don't really prepare you for is that anomaly in each fantasy league where you have someone reach for a player or they cause a run at a certain position. Like, I'll give you one example real quick. In one of my earlier leagues, we had a guy pick two quarterbacks in back to back rounds in the second and third round. He picked Aaron Rodgers and then came back and selected Tom Brady, which caused a run. And, because of my particular strategy, I don't draft QBs early. So by the time I decided to pick a QB, I ended up with Jay Cutler, and I had to make a trade to get rid of him. But that's the only thing that mock drafts don't really prepare you for. Okay, so that wraps up our episode, our very first episode. So now we'll give you our social medias. You can follow Jalen at ace underscore game time 215. You can follow me at I underscore am underscore Hyperion 94. You can also follow our fantasy finest accounts on IG. Look us up on Facebook and like us, and on Instagram at Fantasies Finest. That's finest with a PH, not an F. So those are all our handles. Please follow us. We love to talk fantasy football. Give us a like on Facebook, and follow us on Instagram. We get the latest in news, banter, polls, starts and sits. We'll end up doing that a little later when the season starts, but we got a lot of content coming down the boat. Please feel free to also give us feedback. We're not afraid of critiques. Tell us what we did good, tell us what we did bad, because that's the only way we'll be able to grow. We appreciate all and any feedback that comes, and we'll catch you guys next episode.